Hi, I'm Zach.
I'm Zubair.
And welcome again to Harmony.
Welcome back.
How are you?
Thank you.
Good.
You look good.
So do you.
Thank you.
So,
what do we have today?
What do we have? We have, again, from the first word.
We haven't finished it yet.
Haven't finished the first paragraph yet, but oh well. We're in the middle. We're going to talk about the 8 words inspired by 8 verses of the Quran, from which I had benefited, as the author says.
This is a part of from the introduction.
Yes, still.
Yep.
So, with this, 8 verses of the Quran.
What's so special about it?
I don't think in the original, and you'll have to correct me, the word Quran isn't in there.
Yeah, it's ayat.
Ayat. And again, ayat, what does that mean to you?
Ayat is originally, it's an Arabic word, and it's normally referred to some verses from the Quran.
Verses.
Yeah.
Is there another word that it might mean?
Yeah, in original ayat is the word, the proof.
Proof, okay,
Yeah.
proof, evidence.
Evidence.
Sign, I think. Maybe?
And sign,
And
yeah.
sign, okay. So proof, evidence, and sign.
Yep.
Okay, so the word verse in English doesn't really communicate that meaning.
Yeah,
Okay.
not all of them at least.
Yeah. And so I think that's why the translator put verses of the Quran to emphasize that aspect of it. Because verses of poetry, verses of the Quran, verse is the same thing. It's just a line.
Yep. So we can say that the original does not say Quran explicitly.
Yes.
It might be one of the meanings too.
Exactly.
And it might have some other meanings,
Yes.
like verses of the universe, you can say.
Verses, signs of the universe. Let's use the word
Signs of-
sign.
okay, okay.
Sign, yes, verses, if you want to understand that, that's a good understanding too, but signs
Of the universe.
I think that is good.
Okay.
Okay, so we're talking about different signs. Okay, be them from the Quran as a book or from signs around you. If we consider the existence itself as a book full of meaning.
Yep.
And so I think we gave examples to that. So the important thing is that he addressed his soul with these 8 signs, let's say.
He addresses what?
He addressed his soul. Remember, soul here means his
Ana.
nefis.
Nefis, I'm sorry.
Okay, which means the part of his humanity that is, although necessary and not bad, commands him to rebel. Okay, so he's addressing his nefs to not rebel. Since if we say that the nefis, if it's always choosing rebellion, then the goal here is to make it feel comfortable and need not rebel.
How do you come to that conclusion? The original text does not say any of those.
Okay. Well,
It just says, I say them to my nefs.
yes,
It's all.
it's a good question.
Well.
Remember, the average Turkish person, when he hears the word nefs,
Yep.
you being the Turkish person, you can confirm this, what will come to his mind is the part of his humanity that is always rebelling.
Yeah.
So if
nefis is bad.
Yeah, it's rebelling. It's commanding him to do bad. So, if he's addressing his nefs, and its whole nature is the command to do bad,
There's something wrong.
yes, there's something wrong, but you're telling it, he's addressing it, you don't need to rebel. Why is the nefs rebelling is a completely different issue.
Okay.
But the fact that he's addressing his nefis is the important thing. The nefis which rebels. Its job is to rebel for other reasons.
Okay, that's fine.
But these signs, these evidences are pointing to the fact that you don't need to rebel.
Do you think it's meaningful to tell nefs not to rebel while its only activity is to rebel? Is that does that make sense?
I think that's how it has to be. It's a good question.
Okay.
I think that's how it has to be because he's taking the nature of the nefis and addressing it. You can't address the nefs without its nature, without taking its nature into consideration. So he's addressing the aspect of him that is rebelling. Using signs, using signs to show that there's no need to rebel. You have to take the nafs, we have to take the nafs with its quality. He's addressing that.
So we are all trying to address the nafs to convince him, or what? Not to rebel, right?
To convince him, to show himself.
No need to rebel.
No need to rebel, because if we go further into the Arabic meaning of nafs, it also just means self.
Yep.
So to show oneself that rebellion isn't necessary.
I think it's a really interesting topic that we need to keep in mind while we go through the text, the rest of the text at least.
Yeah.
So, well, personally, I got interested really on this part.
Good. I'm glad. I did too. I think this is actually the first time it came to me as reading this, even though I've been reading it many times. Every time I read it, I get something more out of it.
Yeah.
So that's something that I do like. So with that, so we're talking to our nefs, we're addressing it, and we're trying to convince our nefs, and by that meaning, and that also means ourself, that we don't need to rebel.
Okay, we are going to see that.
Yes. And so he sees himself as rebelling.
Yep.
He's not blaming somebody else for rebelling, and he's not blaming himself necessarily for rebelling. It's doing a job for something else. We'll get to that in another discussion, though.
Okay.
Okay.
So he sees himself as the most, what's the word here?
The most most in need
of
advice.
Of advice. Strange.
And he's going to address him.
Are you aware that the author, is kind of a scholar, that he can talk about the high issues a lot, and he sees himself in a humble way. I'm in need of most advice. My nafs is in the need of most advice than anyone else.
And that means?
Is this humbleness?
It means that he understands his situation.
Well,
it means that he knows that information itself doesn't have any effect on
the nature of the nafs.
Or the nature of himself. It doesn't give him anything in and of itself. Just being full of knowledge
doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't mean that you benefit from it.
Exactly. You might benefit from it, but just because you have it doesn't mean you benefit from it. He's aware of that.
I have something in my mind. Can I add it?
Okay.
Everyone has the nafs. Everyone has the soul. Himself, the self, as you said. But if I consider myself like this, and making an allegory, I just kind of fixed my problems a bit, and I'm going to kind of take care of your problems. But since it might be wrong, this might be wrong, because everyone is responsible with himself or herself. If I try to go beyond my boundaries, this is not my area of responsibility, right? I am fully responsible with myself at first, all the time. Because it's going to, I know the nafs, the self, is going to tell me to rebel all the time and again and again and again. So I am responsible. I am in need of advice more than anyone else. If I have some, I need to. So I'm going to tell them to myself. If you want to listen, share, please welcome.
Yeah.
Is that true?
I think so. It makes sense to me.
Okay. Kind of striking.
Yeah, we're only responsible for ourselves.
Yeah.
And so it also means that the author is talking to people who are of the same mentality. Somebody who thinks that he's responsible for, let's say, making other people righteous will not benefit from this text at all.
Again?
Somebody who feels himself responsible.
Everyone feels.
But for making other people righteous, correcting their faults
solely,
then or at all, means that this text won't benefit them.
Do you mean that I'm going to grab this book and I'm going to read it to you, I'm going to fix you then?
Yeah.
I'm out of this concept.
Yeah.
So I won't benefit.
Yes.
Probably the person I'm going to read won't benefit too. I don't know that, but it's out of
I won't benefit.
I won't benefit.
If I have that mentality, I won't benefit.
Wow. then it might not be the truth that I'm trying to deliver.
I'm trying to take what I understood from this text and impose it on you, which is wrong.
I think we gotta stop here.
Okay.
Did we conclude the introduction? Do you think?
We did without doing it openly. I'll
Okay.
read the last line and I'll let the audience and ourselves think about it. We did talk about it,
Okay.
but we didn't say openly that we did.
I talked
So-
too much this time. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's good. You talked enough.
Oh,
And-
thank you.
And in a good way. So now I shall address my soul with these same words, but briefly in the language of ordinary people. Whoever wishes may listen together with me.
Oh, again.
Mhm.
What does he say? I'm going to briefly talk to myself.
Mhm.
Too strict, too plain, right?
Mhm. In the language of ordinary people.
So I'm not going to tell you.
Mhm.
I'm going to tell myself, but I'm going to try to be a bit simple.
Because I need to be simple to understand.
Really?
I don't need to do a bunch of philosophy on myself. I'm in need of being, of using the language of ordinary people.
Do you know what? The self is always plain,
Mhm.
too plain, right?
Mhm.
So I'm going to tell plain, simple,
Mhm.
so that if you wish, you can benefit or
Yeah.
listen to.
Yeah.
He does not say benefit. He says listen.
Mhm.
If you want, you can listen.
Mhm. Whoever wishes may
Yeah.
listen together.
The Turkish version, the original version, confirms that too.
Mhm. Okay. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hope to see you next time.
See you next time.